And let's see if it's on here. There's some of these movies, maybe that's what I'll. There it is. Huh. 5 months old. I'm surprised I haven't seen it yet. Those of you that have had me before, have you seen
At Parmesan's, get an extra
Paper Tigers is one that I'll have you guys watch. Any of you watched Paper Tigers yet? It's a trauma documentary. That may be one. If the baby came tonight, I would have you watch that.
large New York style one topping.
Also, 7 Days of Heroin in Cincinnati. Anybody from Cincinnati? I didn't know they had a full documentary on opioids. That's fun. Fentanyl. I guess that's a synthetic opioid. Pain pills are heroin.
This panhandle is the gateway to West Virginia because it opens up the whole eastern seaboard, Washington, Baltimore, Philadelphia, all that area. This is the gateway.
Maybe we'll have to watch this if the baby came tonight. Anybody familiar with what an opioid is? In Ohio, we have what's called an opioid epidemic. It was really big in the 2010s. You'd see a lot of overdoses. How many of you guys have seen 7 Days of Heroin in Cincinnati yet?
I think you showed it to us in my
I think you're right. That's why I was asking. Because I want to say, would you be annoyed to see it again? That was my plan. Besides answering questions on your genogram, they already erased mine. I'm kind of pissed off now. Where'd my genogram go? They clean it and everything because you can't even see it. Anybody learn something new talking to their mom or dad, about the family history or genetics, or you already knew it all? You already knew all your family history? I learn new shit about my family whenever I talk to my mom, I swear.
I think I learn something every day. Our family tree is just so weird.
Yes. Yes.
I'm too old to be knowing I have new cousins and all this stuff.
That too. That's the best. You find out there was a secret family somewhere, or it happens. Paper Tigers is the trauma documentary. Maybe I'll show you the trailers first. Do you remember Paper Tigers? Anybody seen Paper Tigers? I'll show you the trailer, but I want to make sure. Not that one. I hate the martial arts trailer. So there's one under martial arts, but these are all on Amazon Prime. Does anybody have? With centralstate.edu, you get free Amazon Prime for 6 months. Yeah. You use your centralstate.edu account. With your centralstate.edu account, you get Amazon Prime free for 6 months. Nope. I just did it again. Somehow I busted out another one. Every time I've taught it, you get a .edu email, and I got my 6 months. I ain't going to turn it down. That shit's expensive. I got one at UC. I got one at Miami. I got one at Central. I feel like I'm using either Central or Miami again right now. I don't know how they didn't recognize I have used it before. I'm not hating on them. Maybe we have a new server at Central since 2019. So with centralstate.edu email address, you get free Amazon Prime. You can watch this documentary. Well, I'm going to wait till she's back to show the trailer. And the overdose trailer. Is there? Did you? Did they turn blue? Their lips? Do they have a needle in the arm? Where were you working?
I was working at Wendy's on the east side of Big.
Oh, yeah, they love shooting up in the bathrooms at fast food restaurants.
She in there gasping for air. I walked up so quick. I
So you stop breathing. Yeah, you stop breathing. So your whole body, you get so high, you're just like everything's slow motion. I used to. You call 911. Well, they give you Narcan. So our police department has Narcan. They shoot it in your nose. It reverses the effect of the opioid.
Yeah, they do. Just if anyone needs it. Okay, just get you over to or you see somebody.
Is there a trailer for overdose too? Is maybe we can see the. Why don't they have? I guess because it is. There's so much on addictions. It's like, oh, that's where all the drugs gets grown. Okay, I'm like, where is that? Oxyana or Oxycontin? Okay, it's probably about Oxycontin. Huh. They did it in Arkansas. See, they mimicked Cincinnati 2 years ago. I didn't know that. Oh, right. Have you ever seen where poppy is grown in Afghanistan?
Yeah, like poppy is the flower for opioid.
I spelled it wrong. Maybe there's a video. Is they'll cut it and then it kind of bleeds out, and they cook it up and they turn it into heroin. They make it a dust, a powder. Yeah. Part of me thinks that's why we had a 21-year war in Afghanistan, but maybe I'm just looking into it. Maybe just an image. So a lot of times they'll cut it and it bleeds this ooze out, and so it's like cocaine, like that stuff that will get you high as a kite, and like that's the stuff that's in it that it is crazy right there it is. That's like they turn into heroin, and it's weird to see U.S. troops guarding it in Afghanistan for 21 years. Your guess is as good as mine.
There was artists in it. That's what they were doing.
Your guess is as good as mine. Somebody already snuck a little bit out of that. Like, and the kids, it's like, yeah, it's been around for hundreds of years, probably thousands. You drink a tea or you like, it's in morphine. So that it is a crazy. Paper Tigers is a documentary about trauma. Say mom and dad are both hooked on heroin and they're nodding off every single night. It happens, especially in Ohio. And if they're both hooked on heroin and you're a 5-year-old and you're hungry, but mom's like this, like try, like your brain, you get hungry, you want a meal. Where the fuck do you find your food? And that's why sometimes kids are taken for safety. And people accuse social workers of taking kids, which I understand. Like if it's not rightfully taken, that's sad. But if it is for the safety for mom to get rehab and recovery, then family reunification happens. That's the plan with like where social workers. That's only one aspect of social work. I've worked in addiction recovery. I'm in hospice now. I work at a private practice now on Mondays and Wednesdays. You can work in a hospital. You can work at a domestic violence shelter. But the kids, any of you heard of ACEs in here? ACES before? It stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences. And you can take a free online quiz and see how many ACEs you've had growing up. Like most of us have 2 or 3. If you've got 4 or more, they recommend, like I talked to a counselor growing up and do talk therapy or some type of trauma therapy. Most of us have a few, and it's a free online quiz you can take. And yeah, they'll tell you the results right away. And that's what this documentary is based off of. So I'll show you the trailer. When we have the baby,
In every school in America,
I will ask all of you guys to watch this.
walking down every street in America.
Paper Tigers.
There are the kids that get labeled. Get rid of them. They're nothing but trouble. Lincoln sits right
Hello.
in the heart of the most assault, gang activity, truancy.
I did hear that it was the worst school you could ever go to.
Kids had knives, fights, absolute chaos.
I know if you've had me before, you guys have watched this, but it's worth a rewatch because it shows how trauma affects our brain development as kids, if we're exposed to any trauma, any domestic violence, addiction, alcoholism, parent in jail, food insecurity, it affects our brain development. It's healable, like we can be healed from it, but it does affect us. So it's
I
something.
threw a chair at him. I told her I was gonna kill him. All of them were backed out.
I was invited to go to a conference about complex trauma and what stress does to the brain.
The behavior isn't the kid. The behavior is a symptom of what's going on in their life.
Her mom was like, "Hey, Shelly, she's the only thing I had." And for her to abandon me like that. His coping mechanism was drinking a ton, smoking a ton. I remember one night, I didn't want to be alive.
It hit me, and it hit me really hard.
You have to.
So this is about a school that offered trauma-informed care, and this was a model we used in Cincinnati at what was called Lighthouse Community School, and showed how trauma-informed care in the schools, both grade schools and high schools, was helpful to end kind of some of the trauma epidemic.
Conditionally love them, and you have to believe that their behavior might be out of their control.
I love playing guitar with several of these guys. I feel like that's almost as strong as anything we ever do in class.
After that, he wasn't only a discipline figure, he was a friend.
Half of the student body had over a 3.2 GPA. To watch their confidence come back has been incredible. I'm not by myself anymore. I got a team.
If I can do it, all of you can definitely do it.
It's not that I'm judging you. I know why you're smoking weed. I know why you smoke that. I know why you're fights. You don't want to feel. I mean, that's the big challenge is I'm asking you to try feeling for a little bit, because sometimes when you feel, it guides you in the direction that you should be going and not to where you are.
So that's the documentary. It is free on Amazon Prime. If you need an Amazon Prime account, use your centralstate.edu address. It's free Prime for 6 months. If you haven't used it already. Have you guys used?
I used it.
You did? Somehow I used it twice. I pulled it off.
Each year. But delete it. Did you do like doing it in school or anything? Like, did you do any like community college? You can use that email. No, I got a couple other college emails.
That's the key. Use your other college emails. So any questions? The baby literally could come tonight, or it might be 3 weeks from now. And that's the tricky part. Like once it's fully baked, that's when it comes out. Like she thinks that it looks like this right now. It's half baked. The head's upside down. That's ready to push out. They did say it's already 5.5 pounds. So I guess we are at average weight. What else is there in pregnancy?
So
All right.
If she does go into labor, like right now, are you just gonna like get up and like, okay.
Like, see ya. Watch Paper Tigers documentary.
But wait, you live an hour away, so like she's gonna wait an hour in labor, and then like you're gonna drive there.
Labor takes people be on labor for you can get
an hour to
Her sisters are both a mile away. That would be the only situation they'd help, or her mom or her dad. But yeah.
Like whatever you my husband's gonna come.
You do have to go to the hospital within 24 hours when your water broke.
Okay, yeah.
So you got 24 hours. The baby would be without the shit to keep it alive. Like it's all gone. It's just like in a bag, like, bleh. I don't know. It's not good. I'm sure it's happened. You know what I mean? Like I guarantee it's. I think it just floats out of you too. So maybe that's what it is. The bag kind of keeps it in you. You lose your mucus plug. So the mucus plug goes over the cervix. You see that come out. It's like a big snot booger, and then the baby comes out. Like, see ya. I know that's a pretty graphic description of how it all happens, but when I saw the drug use in kids, it reminded me of 7 Days of Heroin in Cincinnati. Nobody's ever seen it?
Did we watch it last semester?
You did. So that's why I was saying, asking her, would you be okay seeing it again or no? You ain't.
It's fine.
It's only 29 minutes.
It's fine.
Yeah. That's what I like about it, is then we would be done at 3:15. Just in case she goes into labor, right? Get my ass moving. She did say, like, when the hell are you going to be here? Well,
Are we your last pet?
uh-huh. And you're welcome to go get a snack if you need it. Cincinnati. What's that?
I said not for this documentary.
This one is rough, so
You only been showing us rough stuff.
I'm sorry. It's real life.
Do
Do you want to see the placenta?
I was literally watching the class from YouTube. And I was like,
You're like, oh, shit. All right, here we go. Is it already started? You ready for this?
Is it bad?
It's real life. It is real life. You'll be like, what the fuck just happened? It's crazy. Maybe they finally turned it off and nobody can access it anymore. I hate that. Oh, of course, you got to watch it in like fucking Facebook. That's weird. Did I turn it down? Of course. Of course.
Taxpayers will spend heavily to lock up drug users.
So a lot of social work funding is addiction recovery.
People
It's my
will overdose
hometown.
in gas stations and parks and school parking lots.
They're getting Narcan when you see the mask on. That's what that is.
It's the first day of another week of the heroin epidemic. Over the next 7 days in greater Cincinnati, at least 180 people will overdose. 18 will die. This is normal now. This is a typical week.
It's fentanyl, really. Fentanyl is killing you.
5,010% possession drugs charge. Here's Courtroom A in Hamilton County. It's the first stop for those arrested the night before on heroin charges.
So the defendant did knowingly have in his possession a clear liquid syringe, which he admitted was heroin.
On this morning, as on most, 1 in 4 cases on the docket is directly connected to heroin. They come from wealthy neighborhoods and poor.
She had syringes in her vagina that she did not disclose.
They are young and old, parents and grandparents, sons and daughters. Sometimes they are brought here hours after they almost died from an overdose. Sometimes they don't make it to court. Heroin and other opiates kill 1 American every 16 minutes. That's more than die in traffic crashes.
It's a lot.
Cincinnati 911, what is the address of your emergency? 4980 Glenway Avenue, the Cokedale Library. My children's librarian is asking for Narcan. She thinks that he may be overdosing.
Hello?
Hello, Cincinnati 911.
Yes, please, sir. My brother and his friend overdosed.
Where's
In
that
my
at?
car. I'm running around the room. What's going on?
They breathing.
But what if they're blue?
I just walked into my buddy to answer his phone, and I believe he's OD, and I think he's dead.
Can you tell me for sure if he has a pulse or a heartbeat?
He's ice fucking cold.
I got a phone call. She was all upset for I couldn't understand her. And I said, I think she's telling me my baby's dead. No, it's not real. No, I don't know. It feels like your soul leaves your body. It felt like somebody just blasted me in the chest with a shotgun. That's what it really felt like. I guess they see it so much, they just look at it like, well, there's another dumbass, whatever. That corner said, I deal with this every day. And they kept, well, we deal with this. I said, yeah, well, I don't deal with this every day. I don't got to deal with it every day. I bury my child. Every day my child's dead. I don't deal with that every day. How would you feel if you went home, your child was dead? They didn't let me see him, so I didn't believe it. I said, nah, it ain't time. He hadn't been using, he's been clean for a year. He said, Mommy, look, I promise you, Mommy, I will never do heroin again. He said, Mom, that stuff they got her today, he said, it's not heroin. He said it's intentionally made to kill you. So what happened that made him want to do a shot of heroin again?
By the end of the night, at least 20 people in greater Cincinnati have overdosed. 4 have died. In the early morning, Covington police raid a house for drugs and guns. It's a constant battle to keep up as demand for heroin rises. Heroin is big business, and cartels from Mexico want to cash in. They flood markets like Greater Cincinnati with drugs and rely on street dealers to find customers. Police go after those dealers, but if one goes down, another is always ready to step in.
There's an overdose right there by the church.
Do you see a needle, ma'am? How do you think it's OD?
That's usually what it is now, that somebody laid in the alley. This is what it is now.
Heroin isn't just a big city problem. Small towns across Ohio and Kentucky have been devastated by the drug.
You know, when we started this ministry, we were so excited about just being able to do what God wants us to do. We didn't realize the magnitude of what we were faced with.
Gerald Breeden created Firehouse Ministries to do something about it. His church welcomes all, including anyone seeking help with addiction.
And when I hear him talk, it's like it's a demon that's got them, you know, that it's something inside of them that's really evil that's forcing them to do what they're doing. And a lot of these kids, you know, are faced with that same choice, and maybe sooner than later with the way things are. The kids that we help and that we minister to, there's not one of those kids that are not affected by the addiction problem. And heroin seems to be the greatest controlling factor. Somebody in their family is directly connected with the drug culture, and these kids are faced with that. And I've also seen some families where not only the parents are using, but they're using with their kids. And that is a really risky place for all of them to be. And I know for a lot of their lives, that just seems like a normal thing that, you know, my parent is using, my siblings are using, and it's an atmosphere that just creates a whole lot more trouble for them when they think that kind of lifestyle is normal.
Father, we just want to thank you for the blessings that you give us. We want to thank you for this day. Father, for these kids that come out. And I just pray that you protect them and keep them safe. Draw them close to you and let them experience your love and your mercy. In Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
By the end of the day, at least 38 people have overdosed for the week. 6 have died. As heroin addiction progresses, people can lose careers, family support, even their homes. Some end up here, under the city's interstates.
When I started to hit the homeless camps pretty regularly, it was a lot of alcoholics and mentally ill individuals that weren't being medicated properly. Now it's mostly heroin.
It's Officer Tim Epstein's job to clear out these homeless camps, but he also tries to help.
These people are in a tough spot in their lives. Nobody really recognizes their rock bottom until it's pointed out to them. The goal isn't to take them to jail. The goal is to connect them to services. But sometimes I'll have to take people to jail. Each time you get evicted and have to change something, it's an opportunity to make the decision to make the big change, to actually get off the heroin or the other drugs that you're on.
Kim Hill is preparing to see the son she lost Monday to a heroin overdose. Tom had been drug-free for about a year before relapsing. His friends found him in his apartment, a needle in his arm.
Just to see your child looking like that, and that had been doing good so long. I remember just laying on his chest and asking him, why did you do this? Why? Why would you do this, Tom? And I just laid there on him and kissing him, and I didn't want to let him go, and I didn't care how he looked. I just wanted to bring him home.
Crime labs like this one in Cold Spring are scrambling to keep up with demand. Evidence in every drug case ends up in a place like this, where it's tested, measured, analyzed.
Now, if they're really, really into it, this might not be enough for them for the day.
Heroin isn't the only problem. Synthetic opiates such as fentanyl and carfentanil are increasingly common and increasingly deadly.
That's all
Just
you
a
need
few crumbs
for
are
an
enough
overdose.
to kill.
I can fuck you up. They're sprinkling on weed now.
The idyllic suburb of Fort Thomas has had its share of heroin problems,
44, 43, I'll be up.
and the highways bring even more people with addiction through. Police created the heroin interdiction team after the drug was blamed for several deadly crashes in northern Kentucky.
He's high now, so he's going to be along. Why are you driving the car?
Drug driving is more common now than drunken driving. The right help can be hard to find for those addicted to heroin. Treatment centers fill up quickly, and programs that work for some addictions don't work well for heroin. The Campbell County Jail has a new approach. Women here get evidence-based treatment. They get medication when they leave jail. But that's not where it ends. For 2 years, they get health checks, job training, and housing assistance. Katara Jarvis deliberately got arrested so she could get treatment.
I completely shut down from everything, from my higher power, from my sisters, from my program. I'm determined. I don't want this money in the world, I don't want to buy anything.
911, what is the address of your emergency?
No, I'm in the parking lot of school, but it's like emergency. I think you overdosed. I don't know what you took.
I can remember waking up from being revived, and it was just literally like a fog of a dozen people standing around me. I had no idea who was who, and it was terrifying because it's almost like you're laying in a casket.
It took Amy Parker years to learn how to live without heroin. She relapsed more times than she can remember and alienated family and friends.
As long as a person is still alive, there is hope that they can get through this.
But she did it. She got treatment, including medicine. Now she's a peer counselor, helping people who are where she used to be, walking the line between sobriety and relapse.
I'm in a dream. Is it real? And when I look around at my beautiful home in a safe neighborhood with my husband and my kids, it's amazing.
By the end of the day, at least 63 people have overdosed for the week. 9 have died.
I told you guys I met my my wife, when she dated my roommate in law school. He was 10 years sober, but he got a back surgery and they give you pain pills. You ever heard of the pain pills? And so he went back out. He had since remarried. She kind of broke it off with him in 2007, as we met in 2005. He remarried, had a kid, but then when he got back on the pain pills, he kind of went to heroin. We reconnected at his funeral, and they said he was sober at the time when he died. I just don't know how you die on your own vomit when you're sober, so we don't really know. He was a good guy. He really was. He was JAG. He was Judge Advocate General.
Users on US 52.
Military.
Pill mills along this route used to give drug users easy access to prescription painkillers. Now, those drug users come looking for heroin.
Since the heroin problem has just been the area that we've really had to target, and it just doesn't seem to be going away.
If you were at a beach, you put your fingers down, said pinch some sand, and that's literally the amount of heroin that typically a user would purchase.
They'll shove that stuff down in their sock. They'll put it in a real small balloon, shove it in their cheek, bottom of their shoe, underneath the pad of the foot.
You know, it's true of finding a needle in a haystack.
And also, of course, suspension for LVI. Is your name here?
When deputies pull over this 23-year-old man, they find drug paraphernalia in the car. The man admits he uses heroin. He says he believes he's safe because he snorts heroin rather than injecting.
I just think that it's a lot safer than just sticking a needle in my arm.
You can
So
snort
you're
it.
not doing it every day?
Yeah, sometimes yes.
Sometimes yes.
I don't know if that makes sense, but other times no.
Sometimes.
When babies are born to mothers addicted
Now
to
it
heroin,
starts.
they can suffer tremors, seizures, and other withdrawal symptoms.
This is sad.
Children's Hospital treats those babies and works with parents to keep them healthy.
Still need a little bit of holding on, but you're getting there. There you go. Hey! I'm gonna turn you on your belly and see what you can do.
Eliana. Her name means gift from God.
Stephanie Gaffney says she used heroin for years until she learned she was pregnant with Eliana. She lives with her baby at a Cincinnati treatment center.
She gives me something a little bit more worth fighting for. I had a rough and complicated childhood. I don't want her to have to go through any of that I did. I want her to have her parents be consistent in her life.
She looks excellent. You started out so little and you're so big now. Yes, you are.
I don't know how possible it is, but I'd like to have it as normal a family as addicts can have.
10 days after this visit, Stephanie Gaffney overdosed and died. Eliana is now living with Stephanie's parents.
Happens way too much.
No one wakes up one day and says, this is what I want to do. We don't see them as what most people would see them as, which is prostitutes.
Scarlett Hudson calls them her girls, and these women call her Mama.
Yeah, so she'll be on the street tonight.
Through her Women of Alabaster Ministries, they can drop in for a meal, clothing, or health checks.
We look at them like they have been broken, they're hurt. We don't believe at all that it's a choice that they would make had they had a good choice to make. This is one way that they know that they can feed that addiction. They've resorted to this. We see them through the eyes of Christ. That's how we see them. We thank you for the days when girls say they're done, when they're sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Hey, baby, are you hungry? You want to go with me? I'm going up to the building.
Hi.
How are you?
Okay. How are you? I'm good. We know that if we keep doing what we've been called to do, that more and more of them will find their way out. And more of them will live. There's going to come a day when it's going to be your day and you're going to come in and say, I'm ready, right? Yeah. They have aspirations and have had aspirations. We just got to find that person again. So when we look at them for what they can be one day, not what they are at the moment.
I'm currently working on Glenway, and there's somebody passed out in the women's bathroom.
Are they sure this is a drug? Ma'am, they're passed out. They were face down. Yes, the needle is right by her.
Most companies won't hire someone who's struggling with heroin addiction. Warsaw, Kentucky's largest employer, Dorman Products, takes a different approach.
Because if you're homeless, that's the only privacy you could get. Fast food restaurant. You know what I mean? Like,
Call things on the door and having the employees go check the bathrooms and stuff.
in case they're dead. Anybody else need this? Or you all got it?
I work that shit. We literally had to go punch everybody in the bathroom and then go check like 10 minutes after the punch.
And the Narcan reverses it, get your heart moving again. So you'll see that here in a minute. Oh, shit.
Struggling with heroin for the better part of the last 7 years.
They offer a recovery support group at lunch.
Company time to talk about their struggles or the struggles of family members.
I've got 4 kids, both my sons are addicts, and they have put me through hell and then some. several times. A lot of people just want to look at you and say, there's nothing you can do, just, give it to God and forget about it. Well, that sounds good, but it doesn't work that way, especially when it's your kid. Most of the time, it's an escape. You're hunting for the parts and you don't really have a lot of time to think. That's the hardest part, is putting your game face on and trying to pretend like you're okay. In here, I don't have to do that. A lot of the guys that were in here will come up to me on the floor and ask me, how are your boys doing? Have you heard from Josh yet? And that means a lot, because a lot of people, they don't get it. My last job with one of the cashiers, she was talking about heroin addicts one day, and she made a very nasty reference, and I was like, I'm going to stop you right there. I have 2 sons. They're both heroin addicts. You're entitled to your opinion, but I cannot sit here and listen to you say nasty things that they all should die and all of that. I pray that you're never in my situation, because only then are you going to understand it. And I don't want you to learn that way. Every single addict out there is somebody's child.
By the end of the night, at least 123 people have overdosed for the week. 13 have died.
We have a woman overdosed in our public restrooms.
Overdoses happen everywhere. This one is in the restroom at Finley Market. Someone finds a 35-year-old woman in a blue tank top and yoga pants sprawled on the floor. A syringe loaded with heroin is at her side. The life-saving drug Narcan reverses the effects of heroin. A worker at the market has it in her purse and uses it to revive the woman. Usually it's the police or paramedics who have to administer Narcan. This man passed out while sitting on a bench at Pyatt Park. A bike cop spotted him and called for paramedics. Now, the cop is shooting naloxone into the man's nostrils.
There you go. You can hear me. I want you to squeeze my hand. Get up, baby. Get up. This is my baby right here, man. Narcan always doesn't work for a long time depending what they're at.
When paramedics show up, they insert an IV and give him another naloxone dose.
Just relax, buddy.
This time, the man rouses.
It's okay, buddy.
Relax, you're good, okay? Just lay still.
When he comes to, the medics tell him he should go to a hospital, or at least sit and drink some water. Instead, a friend helps him to his feet, and they walk away. By the end of the day, at least 123 people have overdosed for the week. 13 have died.
I think the guy OD'd on heroin. I think the guy's dead.
Scary moments for a family driving southbound on I-75 near the Weston Hills Viaduct. That's where Cincinnati police arrest a man for OVI on heroin after a crash.
Heroin users cause crashes all the time. Sometimes they shut down a major interstate. When this driver and passenger overdosed while headed south on I-75, paramedics saved their lives. Police charged the driver with driving while on heroin. More people died from overdoses in Butler County this week than in any other greater Cincinnati county.
Hey! Ho, ho! Sheriff Jones has got to go!
Butler County Sheriff Richard Jones won't let his deputies carry Narcan.
I'm a very compassionate person. I see more than they do. I cry a lot inside.
Jones is the only sheriff in Southwest Ohio whose department doesn't use it. His decision sparked a protest from those who say saving lives is what matters most, and a counter-protest from those who say heroin users shouldn't get free treatment, even to save their lives.
Kids are born in my jail. 3 babies born at 18 months. Born addiction. 12 pregnant ladies in my jail and have 35 babies. One of them has 7. They don't have any of them. Children's Services has them. Narcan isn't the issue. The issue is the people that are dying or doing these drugs, and our politicians and our government does nothing. But I'm not apologizing for my stance, not even this much, and nor will I.
Brianna and Jackson are so freaking happy. They are the happiest kids. I don't understand how they can be so happy.
That's a rich part of Cincinnati, too.
Always really happy.
Maureen Sheriff's front yard is a playground for her grandchildren. Brianna is 9 and Jackson is 4. Their mom, Natalie Bauer, overdosed and died in January. Maureen is raising Brianna and her sister is raising Jackson. They consider themselves lucky to be able to care for the children. Kids of heroin users often end up in foster homes.
It is scary, raising a child without the parent. You don't know what to do.
We have to almost smother them with love so that they understand that they're part of a family.
You do understand that it was an accident.
That she didn't leave them on purpose.
People say it'll get better. It doesn't go away. It doesn't get better. I want Natalie back. There's nothing more in this world that I want. I can't have her.
10 minutes, Jackson. I'm gonna read a book, all right?
Last night she was crying. I want mommy. I feel like my life is over. What does that mean when a 9-year-old says, I feel like my life is over?
Can you see something? Please do it.
Brianna was saying last night, why did this have to happen to me? This is so unfair. I said, you're right, it is unfair. I don't know why this had to happen to you. They have to be so brave. If it took her life to bring theirs, then that's what her destiny was. Her life was worthwhile.
By the end of the night, at least 154 people have overdosed for the week. 13 have died.
It's a neighborhood. They just came in running outside to get us. Are they breathing? No, she's not breathing, hon. Her name's Gracie. That's all I know. But my friend has 2 shots of Narcan they're about to give her now. We got to get her on the floor. Come on, guys. She's dead. She's purple.
We have that at the cop station. The Narcan.
Gracie.
Did you say it is expensive?
Yeah, it's like $40-something for one.
It probably is. They try to make it like you can go get it at the cop station just in case somebody sprinkled weed with fentanyl or something. That sucks though. Kind of fucked up.
She got a new dealer. Yeah. Her new dealer hosed her. Yeah. Or she's been off for a while and jumped back into the game.
Oh, yeah, if they quit for a while, their system's not used to the normal amount they receive. So
There we go. Gracie, watch yourself. You got an IV in your arm, okay? Gracie, you're overdosed. Okay, watch your step. Big step here. Okay. Well, somebody gave you some heroin while you were sleeping. No, I didn't. Hey, let's see right there for us, okay?
She said, no, I didn't.
She wasn't breathing.
Just drink it.
If the heroin epidemic is a battle, as many in law enforcement now see it, local jails are the overwhelmed field hospitals, mass units where the casualties just keep coming.
The city's seen a big spike in heroin OVIs. From what I understand is they've had more heroin-related OVIs than they have alcohol-related OVIs. And they're easier to convict too, because most of the time they catch them either with a needle in their arm or they give them Narcan to bring them back. And the only thing that Narcan works on is opiates, so you can't really hide that.
I dedicated every day to the rush of getting high. I'm sick of it. It's a trend, I guess, once you're in the system, it's really hard to get out. So I've been found OD dead about 7 or 8 separate times over the time, so, I probably have 20 odd ODs, I should by all accounts probably be dead.
More than 200 inmates at the Hamilton County Justice Center are admitted heroin users. Jail officials believe the actual number is much larger. Heroin users typically don't stay here long. They get patched up and booked, but the jail is crowded. If they've committed no other crime, they are often released within days or hours. Many return again and again.
Thank you for stress freedom. I'm not asking you to pay $6,000. I'm just asking you to be there.
Yeah, you get diarrhea when you get off it for a minute, so that's why they got the swamp ass. You kind of waddle because your butt cheeks hurt. You got diarrhea. That's why he's walking like that. It's called swamp ass.
Lizzie Hamlin's son, Scotty, has been missing for days. His friend, Tom Tom, died from a heroin overdose Monday.
It's an empty room.
Scotty disappeared after that. His mom is sure he's using again. Lizzie came home from work just minutes ago and could tell that he had returned to the apartment. He left with some of his things. She suspects he will sell them and use the money to buy heroin.
This is my room. I keep it locked. I keep my purse and my personal things in there. When Scotty's using, he tends to take things, leather jackets, brand new pants, trade them in, get money, and get high. We hit our up and downs, but we had a lot of good times. Respondent has track marks. He has been making up to 5 trips a day to purchase. He's going to Cincinnati 5 times a day for drugs and sometimes cannot make it through the night without using, and he couldn't. Approximately 3 weeks ago, respondent was admitted to St. Edgewood Hospital voluntarily and reported feeling hopeless, helpless, and thoughts of suicide. The results in a 3-day stay was unable to stay sober longer than 6 days before relapsing.
Lizzie is going to Tom Tom's funeral tomorrow to support his mom, Kim Hill. But she'll also be thinking of her own son.
See, Kim's going through the process of where she's having to plan this funeral. Me, I imagine in my mind, what would I put Scotty in? What kind of shirt would he want? What kind of hat would he want? What shoes? I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know the answer to any of it. If I could lock him to a bed with the chain, and I would. Scott, he just texted me back and said, love you too.
By the end of the week, at least 180 people have overdosed. 18 have died. This is normal now. This is a typical week.
We're here to pay our respects to Tom Tom. He had a big heart and he was all about family. Tom Tom was here today. He could say anything he wanted to us. He would say to those of you that are using heroin, please don't let his death be in vain.
It's kind of sad. There is recovery too, so that's, there's the hopeful side of it. That's